What's up, everybody? I'm Takilla, and this is my wonderful husband,
Russell,
and we are
the
Breretons.
Breretons.
Welcome to our channel. So, as you can see, the title says you're going to learn a little bit about who we were before I was here with him and he was with me, and we became one.
So first of all, I'm gonna let the lady start. She gonna tell you a little bit about, who she was before she met me.
So, we're going to go ahead and get into this. We're going to let y'all know all the good truth because, we got to tell y'all the truth because we're all about truth here. So we're going to dig into a little bit of our lives so y'all know. So we get started. I was married for him. So this is my second marriage, and I have 2 awesome children from my first marriage. And we met at the end of my first marriage. I was at a point in my life where I did all I could to, my first relationship, I did all I could. We went to counseling, we did everything we could. So I was at the point where I could do no more. It was time for me to move on. So I got to the point where I'm not getting married again. That's where I was at. I'm not doing it again. I don't want to do it again. But as you can see, God had other plans. So I met him. Actually, we met at a nightclub. And I was out hanging out with my girl. And I saw him, and he was working as a security guard. So I saw this handsome looking security guard at the club. And basically that's how we met and how things got started. And it was something about him just made me say, maybe I'll do this again. And it went from there. I was at I can't say a low point in my life. I was at I guess you could say I wasn't ready to, move on. Like, it was just, I thought that when I got married the first time, it was supposed to be forever. And since it wasn't forever, I guess that's what made me feel like I wasn't going to do it again. And then when I met him, it actually said, okay, maybe I'll try this one more time. So, I'm going to say that I actually was, when we met, I was actually still married at the time. And I was actually moving out to my own place and had a separation from my first husband. And that's when I met him. And so it basically went from there. And then here we are.
And I was just in like a circle in my life. That stuff started being redundant. I haven't had a girlfriend since high school. Now I messed with some wonderful women, but it was a lot of question marks, a lot of concerns up into it. So when I moved to Baltimore from Pennsylvania, I told myself, because I got tired of my relationships keep on ending the same way. And I knew what I was doing, yeah. So I told myself, I said, listen, Russell, if you have the opportunity to make Maryland your home and you stable, you need to bring down your wall, because my wall was thick. Like, I wasn't letting anybody in. And I think it was more of I was afraid to hurt people, so I wound up moving to Maryland in like July 2010. And we actually met around Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
We actually met around Halloween. Like she said, I was doing security. And the funny thing about that is that her and her best friend, they actually came to the club early. And then I was there because security got to be there early. And I really didn't notice them. I just noticed somebody behind me. Now, this is my first time doing security. I ain't want anybody behind me. So I just pretty much walked away and put my back against the wall. So they wound up leaving, then coming back. Now, when they came back, they was sitting there while we was waiting to get paid. Hey, the club was over. And she waved to me. Now, I ain't want to make it think it was about me, so I looked back to check if she was talking to me. And then she was. I went up there. I started talking to her. It was two instant facts that really made me say, whoa. First of all, she has the same birthday as my youngest sister. And then her family called her Star, which is what we call my older sister. So I guess that was intriguing enough just to see what's up. And then we spoke on the phone a few times.
Yeah.
The conversation was really good. Mm-hmm. And then we wound up meeting somewhere. And you had your purple on. You know that? You had the purple hat. The black tights. Sexy. Oh. Sexy. I need that.
I think it was another party. Yeah.
It was another party. Yeah. I wasn't working.
No, he wasn't working that time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was out having a good time.
Mm-hmm. And we connected. And let me tell you the funny thing about this. Now I knew she was working with something in the back. I knew she was working with something in the back. I didn't really realize it until after we had sex for the first time. And she was putting on her pants. You know how the women be giving that little jump.
Yeah, gotta do the job.
I looked, I said, what? Man, listen. Alright. So we was good. And then
Wait. But the crazy part about that was I told him it was bigger than that. So he was like, what?
Right.
And he found that out after I got pregnant. So yeah. That came.
Pretty much, yeah. I guess she was talking about how it is now. So she gave me a warning. And then we wound up meeting at a Halloween party. Mm-hmm. And Peoples, this one I let her know what was up. She invites me out to a club. I go check her. I lived in Maryland. I just moved out there, so I was only rolling by myself. I get there. She showed me off, lifting up my sick pack to her friends and stuff.
He had the muscles.
So I'm like, all right. Then it came one point when I saw her sitting on somebody else's lap. Now listen, I ain't no play hater. It is what it is.
Yeah, this time we wasn't dating. We was just like getting to know each other more or less. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I bounced. She go call me, talk about where you at. I said, listen, you was occupied. Listen, I don't play that. I never did. It is what it is. You know what I mean? So that booty made me turn back around though. I said, you know what? I'm really not that far. I really could have been at my apartment step and I probably would have turned around anyway. But, I still had to play tough. You know what I mean? But this was also giving her a heads up. Yeah.
Like, all right, if you want to play that game, you go and play by yourself. I don't do that.
Yeah, that basically showed me, like he said, exactly what it was. Because then, you know, and I had to give respect for it because he, you know, that he's just like, oh, listen, I ain't playing. We'll just go, whatever. You do your thing, and I'll do my thing, you know. So the fact that I even called him was like, hold up, where'd you go? But I don't even think we went back to the club that night. We went home that night.
No, we went home. I came back and got you.
Yeah.
And we was out. Yeah. I'm not doing that. I wasn't doing that, people. I wasn't doing that. You know. And then then things pretty much just started happening. You know, and I knew she was in a situation, and I came to her one time. I said, listen, I'm not about opening one door without closing the next. You know, if we're gonna decide to do this, you really need to see that things are through. You know, with at the time her current husband. You know, like I said, they was going through a separation, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't walking into any doors, and there's a door open in the back of her. You know, it was just one of those things where, like, I'm not doing that. You know, I waited all this time to be with somebody, and I just wasn't gonna do that. So I told her, I said, listen, you go back to him, you know, see if it works, see if there's something that you really want to do. And if it is, then you know what, we'll see what's up.
Yeah. No, I mean I did. I mean we it was a try. It was a one and done for me. And I knew it was really over. So it wasn't the fact that that door wasn't closed. It just I knew it, but I respected what he said, and you know went back anyway and see, and it wasn't. So I just let it go. I had respect enough for him, and it wasn't like you know my relationship was horrible or anything like that. You know, I had to think about what was good, what's best for me, my children, and him also. You know, I didn't want to disrespect him. It wasn't that type of thing. You know, so I had to make a decision to say, okay, we gotta let it go. Or I'm gonna be disrespecting this man, and I don't want to do that. He was a good guy, so you know, it just what didn't work for us at the time.
Yeah, so you know, we start moving along. We start getting a little serious. Then she started putting the pressure on me with the boyfriend and girlfriend. And and I'm still like this to this day with everything. I believe titles create itself. You know, and if we was going to have something, I wanted to be genuine. Of course my faith always been intact as far as God and the way, number one, he viewed a man as being the head, and I wanted to make sure that I could abide by, you know, God's rules before I was even married, you know. And I think one of the toughest things for me was when we actually first made it official. I I had to answer questions. Now, listen, I've been an independent contractor this whole time. I'm talking about from 1999 to 2010. I've been an independent contractor, you know. So the simplest things that she used to ask me, I used to be like, yo, why are you asking them questions? She just asked me where I'm going, just for my safety too. But me, I'm like, yo, what? Then I had to really buy down. I'm like, yo, Russ, it's a little different, bro. You gotta start answering these questions. The thing was, I ain't want to have to start answering questions that's gonna create other questions, you know. So I feared that. I ain't gonna lie. I felt like at first it was disrespect at first, yo. I felt disrespected, but it was part of the territory.
I mean, I would, like he said, it was questions he had to learn to answer. But again, I wasn't asking anything to be nagging. I just wanted to know. I was a worry wart for one, and I'm still am. But at the time, I just want to know where he was going, and I didn't even ask when he was coming back or anything like that. I just wanted to know where he was going. And then, oh my goodness, the phone calls, like, listen, you can't. So this was one thing that happened. So you can't go a whole day without having a conversation with me. Like I worries to the max. So he didn't understand that. He's, and I had to let him know. And listen, I'm not trying to be in your business all the time. That was the one thing we had. Like our thing was, just tell me how it is. It's going to be this way. It's going to be, I'm with it, whatever way it is, but just let me know. Give me a choice to be like, okay, he doing whatever, and I'm going to do whatever. That's always the communication that we had. But I'm like, you can't go a whole 24 hours and not speak to me. That's just not okay. I mean, we really had this conversation. I'm like, I was so mad. He doesn't understand it. I'm like, listen, I'm where I worry. And when you don't communicate with me or you don't say nothing for 20, and we supposed to be are in a relationship, no, that's not gonna fly. It just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work. But he understood after. But
man, I went weeks, months without talking to females. I wasn't thinking about that. Mm-hmm. Listen, no call is a good call to me.
No, that's not to say for me.
No call was a good call for me. Mm-hmm. But it was cool, and it started building. And let me tell you a funny thing about my mother. I have to tell this story. So me and my mother, we was really close. Me and my mother was like best friends. And I remember I'm in the doorway of her room. She's in back of me. And I'm telling my mother, I'm like, listen, Ma, we decided to make it official. And my mother did only what my mother could do. She put her face up like, Listen, only thing I could do was smirk, and I didn't want to laugh because she was right behind me, but my mother was not feeling it. And I'm going to tell you why she wasn't feeling it. In Pennsylvania, I had a lady that, really looked out for her OD. And when I moved, my mother was still fond of this lady. So when I said that to my mother imagined me and the lady not rocking with each other anymore. So my mother wasn't feeling it. But I will tell you this. I'm going to tell you when she started warming up to her. When she started calling them by my sister named Tasha. That's when I knew, okay, my mother, she's warming up. She's warming up. And they remember that,
I dream.
What dream?
The dream I told you about?
Was it after that?
Yeah. This was when she passed. So you talking about something before that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about when New Year's. Remember New Year's Eve?
Oh, I was at your place?
Mm-hmm. And then we wound up leaving and we wound up going. Mm-hmm. And then that's when I met your mother for the first time.
I love this is the craziest thing, y'all. So, listen. So he makes my mother, not in a traditional sense or anything like that. So it's New Year's. We at his house. We had a great New Year's. And it was like 2-3 in the morning, maybe.
Yeah, because we went out.
Oh yeah, so we did.
After the ball dropped,
we came back.
We wound up going out.
Yes, and so when we came back to the house, it was like 1, 2 in the morning. Mm-hmm. I get a phone call from, I think it was, who was it? Who called me? I don't know who called me, but somebody called me. But it's about my mother. My mother is in the hospital. I'm like, oh my God, you gotta take me. We had to literally sober up, like, oh no,
I was twisted.
Gotta go. My mom's in the hospital, so he had to take me to the hospital.
I was twisted. Down
John Hopkins, and I'll check on my mom. So we get there, and I figured he would just drop me off, and I would go in. But lo and behold, he stayed with me, and we was in the waiting room. We was watching Martin. He was watching Martin, so we was in the waiting room just waiting for them to come out, and they finally came out. We both had to get ourselves together. We was tired. Oh my God, we was so tired. And we finally got ourselves together and went back to see my mother. And God, thank you, Lord, but she was okay.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, that's the first time he met my mother in a hospital room.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right in the hospital room. You know. But it's funny how God works sometimes, because he just work out, you know, work out things like that. And ever since, you know, I connected with her mother, you know, heavy, you know, all the way into now. You know, I'm blessed to be able to have a relationship, you know, with her father and her mother. You know, and and God only knew what I needed, because now we was coming to the point where um, my mother was pretty much at the end of her road, you know. And I remember a couple of times, and this time she wasn't even driving.
Yeah, I wasn't driving at the time.
Yeah, she was taking the bus places and stuff. And I remember I got a call, and they was telling me that my mother was in the ICU. So I called her and told her I was heading over there. Before I got to the hospital, she was already there, you know. And I think the sweet thing about it was she was just available. She didn't say much. She didn't say much to me, you know. It was just more about, I'm here, you know. I don't think initially I felt it, because I was just more concerned with my mother's well-being. But that right there let me know, okay, I gotta ride or die. Cause how many buses you had to take to get there?
Actually, that was by the grace of God, because I actually caught a cab over there, but I didn't have any money. Like the cab I caught, I literally had like maybe $20, and then I said it was meant for me to get to him, or to the hospital, because I think I had like maybe $20, and the cab was literally maybe $19 or some change. But I mean, whatever way I thought I was gonna get, I was gonna walk the rest or whatever I had to do. But I was making sure I was made it. Like I said, it definitely was God telling me to get there, because it got me to where I needed to be. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she just was there with me through the whole process. So, you know, it was before. I never really, of course, I knew what my mother was going through. You know, I saw, you know, her go from feeling bad one day out the week to feeling bad 6 days out the week. So to me, I saw the decline in person. So I knew it was an inevitable eventually. But when my mother when she did pass, um, I couldn't ask for a better person to be there with me through that time. You know, so that was huge. That was huge. But at the same time, in my mind, I didn't want to base stuff on a certain event. You know, so I was like, nah, she still got to do a little bit. She got to do a little bit more. You know, because listen, and I'll be the first to say I'm wrong for this. You know, well, my thought process was a little different, because I'm thinking like this. I mess with a lot of different type of women, you know. So in my mind, my wife is supposed to be all the women that I ever mess with, you know. And to be honest, it was completely unfair to put her on that pedestal like that. But to me, that's how I was thinking, you know. You take that woman, you take that, you take that, you take that from her, you know. That was my mindset, but it was and it was so unrealistic. It really was so unrealistic. But um, I appreciate her actually still working to be on that pedestal, you know. So I think that's when it really started clicking. Like, you know what? Maybe she is the one, you know. And I thought about it like that too, because when I came into the relationship like I said, I've been single for over a decade. I ain't have any kids. She been married for just as long as I've been single, you know, and she had 2 kids. So we was on 2 different sides of the spectrum, you know. But I believed at the time, I believed that that was gonna be something where we were was actually gonna help us, you know, because I didn't know anything about no relationship at all. I was done, you know. But I wanted to learn, and being that she already had that structure and she been through it, you know, of course I feel she can help me, which she still is doing to this day. And want to tell them about the like well she told me she loved me a few times.
Yes, I definitely told him. Of course, I was the first to say I love you, and I was okay with him not saying it back because he was like, you know, he only wanted. I only want you to say it if you mean it. But at this point in time, I do, so I'll say it. So of course, I said it a few times before he actually said it. So this one night, it's like, oh my gosh, 2 in the morning or whatever. And at this time, we were both living in different. I was living in my apartment. He was in his apartment, and he called me. I'm thinking, you know, it's 2 in the morning. I'm laying in the bed. I'm thinking something's wrong. He's like, no, I need to come over. I need to let you listen. I'm just like, okay. Like, I just unlocked my door and got back in the bed. And then he comes over, finally gets over. And he
Now, peoples, listen. You can only, guys, you can only make this call when you laying it down right. You know what I mean? Because even when I called her, she was knocked out.
I was knocked out.
But she said, no, I'm not asleep.
Ladies, you know.
Need that. So go ahead, continue.
But, so anyway, yeah. So he gets to my place. I'm still in the bed, you know, and he comes in and is like, I gotta play you this song. I was like, song? Did you really? I'm thinking something wrong. He's like, no, it's not nothing wrong. And what song did you play?
Teach Me. Our music soul child. I don't know what made me listen to. I actually really never listened to that album before like that. But for whatever reason, that song came on. You know, I knew I wanted to love her. I just didn't know how. You know, and please listen to this song. It makes so much more sense if you listen to the song. And I was like, yo, I do love her. I just need her to teach me. You know, so I went over there. I played the song for her. You know, and then that was the first time I told her I loved her. It was one of those things that couldn't wait. You know, I couldn't sleep. I just had to get it out. I really had to get it out. Yeah, I had to get it out. So, you know, we begin the process. You know, but the funny thing about the process is this: as she's teaching me how to love her, she also showed me how she needed to be loved. People, it's a difference between loving somebody the way they need to be loved and loving somebody the way they want to be loved. It's a difference. She didn't take that into account. I think she skipped the memo on that one. You know, so listen, the work began then. Because listen, I wasn't gonna wait to get married to have a wife. I needed a wife going into marriage. Because I'm not the type. I play basketball, so I'm all about practice before you actually get to the actual game. So she had to show me her wife qualities before I even contemplated, even asking her to marry me. You know, and we did It was some work. Because you got to realize, it's like I had to reinvent myself. You know, I literally had to break down my whole self, you know, just to build with her, you know, and she had to do the same on her part, you know, in different ways, you know. But through the course of it, being that we were on different spectrums, we was able to help each other out with it.
Bring different things to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I ever told you that. I think I did tell you once. I thought I told you, but so if he'll be hearing it for the first time, and y'all get to hear it. But I had got a confirmation, as you would say. For me, it was a confirmation from his mom. But this is after she had passed. Because, you know, like we said, I was at the hospital before he got there. So I was in her room for a little bit, just a little bit, before he showed up. And, you know, I got to see her. I spoke to her just a little bit. And after she passed, it was a while after she passed, I had, she came to me in a dream. And I think did I tell you about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she came to me in a dream. So I seen her in a dream. And in the dream, it was the same setting. I saw her in the hospital bed, and, you know, she couldn't speak or anything like that. But even that was the setting. But in my dream, she said to me, I'm glad that he has you. And it blew my mind. But I was like, maybe that was a confirmation. But that's how I took it anyway.
I don't remember you telling me that.
Yeah, like she came to me in a dream, and she didn't speak it. It was just written on paper. It wasn't spoken. It was on paper, and it was crazy. So for me, that was a confirmation saying, you know, take care of my son, basically, you know. And from there, I just wanted to do our best I could to make sure that he was good, because I knew that was his best friend, and, you know, mom is a big part of your life, regardless, and his mom was the biggest part of his life. So it just felt good to me, and I didn't want to, and I still don't want to let her down in that situation. But yeah, I thought I told you about that.
Mm-mm.
You guys hearing it, he hearing it for the first time, and you guys are hearing it today. So
it wasn't meant for you to tell me that.
Yeah, it must not have been.
Nah, it wasn't meant for you to tell me. And see, now it makes sense, because first of all, she didn't warm me up. She just wanted to go 0 to 100 with love. Listen. It got to the point I got so scared, because I'm like, if you loving me this much, what love do you have for you? And it got me so uncomfortable, because this what I want y'all women to understand. When you love, not saying you're supposed to love your man, your husband, as much as you can, but it comes a point when you start loving him to the point where it's taken away from you. And what happened was, it started putting pressure on me, because I felt like I didn't have no room for error. Like, it's like she can't live without me. And I was raised by a woman, and strong woman. I was raised by a strong woman. And these women, they made things happen on their own, you know. They had husbands, boyfriends, or whatever the case was. But at the end of the day, they depended on themselves. That's what I saw. So I wasn't used to the clinginess. You know, it was to the point where I was afraid to even be like have a certain type of intimacy with her, because I felt like she was just gonna just flood me. I know it's profound. But too much of anything is bad for you. You know? And I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't ready for all that love, yo. And I know it probably confused her, but
I just had a lot to give. I was brought up, just my mom and dad, they just the love, and it's just I had all the time enough to give, and I just felt like, and I might have skipped a little bit over flooded, the love, the hugs, the kisses, whatever. That's lovey-dovey. That's just what I knew. So, yeah. Sorry about that.
Straight about to push me away, huh? I promise you, it was too much for me. I wasn't ready for that. You gotta realize, my mother, even though all the love my mother gave us, my mother wasn't an affectionate person, you know? So she's a female. Now, I'm a male who, first of all, have to acquire that side of emotion and time. So it took me a little longer because I saw this from this woman, you know? So she wasn't looking for anybody to love up on her and do all of that. I saw that, you know? And I always wanted my woman, like my ideal woman, first and foremost, was to be independent. Like, you have to be independent. I don't want you revolving your life around me. You know, I'm always been about team. Like I said, I always play sports, so I've always been about team. And I just wanted her to be able to hold her own, you know, and for her to have her own identity, you know. And I think it took a little bit because she didn't get it. She thought she was doing what she's supposed to have done, which she was, but I wasn't ready to receive it.
Yeah, because I mean, even like he's independence, before him, I was independent. Like I said, I knew how to get down with the get down. Like I knew what I needed, I get it. Like I didn't need anybody to get anything for me. Like I rarely asked for things, and when I did ask for something, if you couldn't get it for me, I got it for myself. It was, so and that was another reason I rarely asked, because if I ask for it, I really want you to get it for me. And if you didn't get it, I'm gonna get it, but I wanted you to get it. So for me, I had that independence, but I still wanted to love. I just was an affectionate person, and I'm still an affectionate person. But but in my family, it was a lot of hugs, a lot of kisses. My grandmother, my aunts, cousins. So it just went around. But eventually, he got it.
Enough.
He got enough.
Listen, I still got to get better at it, even to this day.
Yeah, we both do.
I'm still not I'm more affectionate than what I was, but I could be more. I could be more, especially, with what we doing now, and how much she has to bear for being my wife. Actually, this is actually counseling. I have to do a better job of being a little more affectionate. I do. I really do. But yeah.
Yeah, so that is a little bit about what we were before the IDs. Mm-hmm. So tune in next time, and we're going to get in deeper, go into what after we said I do.
Oh, nah. First of all, hold on.
Oh.
We're going to tell you this quick story, how Joshua came about. Now, she been wanting to have a baby with me. And
okay,
I'm like,
wait a minute, let's scratch. Let's scratch. I've been wanting to have a baby, period. Before I divorced, let's go there. Before I divorced from my husband, I wanted to have another child. I wanted to have 3 children. And of course, since the divorce happened, the separation, I didn't have a baby. So I had baby fever. It was in me to want to have a baby. So this guy comes along. So at this point, I'm like, well, maybe I can get that 3rd baby. Okay, now you can say.
Yeah, and right, and I wasn't sure about it, so it took me. I still she kept on, listen, I got a sweet wife and everything, but she's one of the most passive aggressive people I ever met in my life. Like, she would throw certain type of subliminals, and it's funny how people view me. I'm like, hold on, she's the one, so she kept on just poking. I'm getting frustrated to the point where I'm about to be like, you know what? Like, I was about to put a time limit on it. We ain't gonna have a baby for 2 years. That's the type of time I was on. Now, what happened was, this is crazy. She's a huge Beyonce fan. I'm a huge Jay-Z fan. I'm watching the award show. I forgot what award show it was. And Beyonce was performing. And she revealed that she was pregnant. I was like, yo, Hov is having a baby? Say less. Let's do it. Dead serious. Hov helped me make up my mind to have my son Joshua. Dead serious. Even if you was to look at our kids, Blue and Joshua, they actually close in age. I think Blue is probably like a year older than Joshua. Dead serious. You know? Because we don't really want to go into marriage yet. Because we was actually parents before we got married. You know, so we're gonna leave you with that. We hope y'all enjoyed. I know it's probably not for everyone, but I'm pretty sure you could take bits and pieces out and you could apply it to your normal life, you know, your everyday life, I should say. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Hit that like button.
And ring that bell for more upcoming videos of the Breretons.
Yes.
We appreciate you all.
Yes, we love you guys. And see you next time.
See you next time.